Hey, what's up? This is Spencer Sutherland, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
I was listening to the EP, and it's crazy that you started off with such a high falsetto with Sweater. Like, what made you want to go so high on that first track? I mean, it's not even just the first track; it's like the first 2 seconds of the track.
Yeah, man. Well, that's like the chorus of the song, right? And we tried starting with the verse, but it didn't feel as good as starting with the chorus.
Yeah.
And we thought it was just like very ear grabbing to just all of a sudden go right into falsetto.
Right.
Yeah, and it's fun, man. It's not like a serious song, so we didn't have to like start low and then get high. We just were like, let's just start and turn up right away.
True. Talk to me a little bit about your falsettos and kind of like perfecting them, because throughout this whole EP, like we hear them, little splashes here and there of them. Not as much as we do on Sweater.
Yeah.
But talk to me about how you got comfortable singing that way.
I think it's been part of my voice. Ever since I was singing, I've always liked to sing high, and I've always been able to sing high.
Yeah.
Even when my voice went through that change, I could always just keep singing falsetto, and I love doing it. I love Prince and Michael Jackson. I love how they sing up there. I've just always been drawn to that music, so it's something that I get to do that other artists that I love do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, do you consider these falsettos when you're writing the material? Do you think about them, when they're going to hit, when they're going to happen? And when you do think about them, do they change the way that you write the music as well?
Ooh, that's a great question. I think half and half. Sometimes I just go by the feel. If it feels like it should be falsetto, then go ahead. Sometimes my verses are falsetto and then my choruses aren't, and it sounds weird and different. But I've been trying to get out of the mindset of writing a pop song, the exact structure of a pop song. I like to write just what feels good. But then the other part of me is kind of just along the lines of if I think falsetto, I think people will like falsetto here. Sometimes I do that, but I try to kind of lean towards the feel more.
Now, does that change the type of producer that you're going to want to work with, because you want to work with someone that knows how to deal with these I feel like falsetto is such a specific niche in singing that not any producer can kind of tackle it and make it sound great.
Yeah, I feel that. I have a couple of my team I've been working with for a few years now, so they know what to expect from me, which is the unexpected. And they're really good with dealing with that, and they can handle falsetto really well. They're awesome vocal engineers too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So talk to me more about this EP. Tell me about the creative process behind these tracks and what kind of inspired the whole body of this EP.
Honestly, the whole EP is sort of a snapshot in time of my life in the last year. And each song kind of has its own vibe. Some stuff has more of an inner looking at yourself. Some stuff is funnier, like Sweater and that stuff.
Yeah.
Some is more vulnerable, and some is just, I'm gonna say what I want, and I don't care if it rhymes or not.
Right.
And it's all very much me. And I think that's this is my first project, so I've never had something out that kind of encompasses me as a person and artist. I've always just put out singles and singles and singles. Right. And it's hard to get your entire personality, vibe as a human in one song. So I think that this EP really did that a lot.
Now, you mentioned getting vulnerable as well. I noticed that when you did get vulnerable on this EP, it was also a very chill song. There wasn't that much instrumentation. It was just you and the acoustics, basically. How harder was it for you to get vulnerable when we literally only hear your voice on that track?
Man, it's funny because we wrote that song. It's just acoustic guitar the entire song.
Yeah.
And I had all these other tracks that were really produced out, and I was like, I need something that's nothing. So we wrote that in Joshua Tree, just on acoustic guitar, and I recorded the vocal there.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be a rough vocal, and we ended up keeping it because it was just this cool, this is the emotion of the song. This this vulnerable message about love, and it just happened to work really well.
Right.
Yeah.
Wanted that raw emotion.
Yeah, I wanted that, and then the vocal sounded if you listen, it sounds kind of rough because it's you can hear air in the background and stuff, and literally the sounds of the desert are just there. But I think that's what makes it special.
That's cool. Is that the most unique place that you recorded music so far?
Yes. and I just went back there again for more new music. Yeah, literally like a couple weeks ago. So it's like turned into my writing spot.
Yeah. So tell me about like challenges that you kind of like faced yourself, like, or you kind of gave yourself while making this EP. Because I feel like, you know, the singing is just insane on this record. So I feel like that, I mean, obviously it might come easy to you, but I'm sure like there was some challenges you kind of faced in order to get to that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has their own unique struggles through the years, but I'd say the hardest in my career is just staying patient and working hard, even though it seems so hopeless. Because like it seems more hopeless. It seems hopeless more of the time than it does good. So it's like, but those moments of good are so worth it that you do anything you can. I think that's the biggest struggle, is just trying to stay in it, to even get to this point. And it's like, when you get to this point, you want to get to the next point.
Right.
But I've been working on trying to like really appreciate where I am. And, if I told Spencer 1 year ago that he would have his own project out and be going on his own tour, he wouldn't have believed it.
So tell me more about this EP, like, because not only is this your debut EP, but you're already like working on a second one, and then you're also working on a big body of work. So, what was it about this EP that you felt was the right way to introduce yourself to the fans?
Like I said, I think that like, I didn't have anything that showed me who I was, but I just think that the whole message of the EP, which is truly like about who I am and about connecting to people, needed to be done so then I can put out even weirder and even more different stuff. But it's all part of the story. Like the next EP, the story will continue. If it's an EP. I didn't announce that yet. Yeah. But could be an album, could be singles. I don't know. Yeah. So
is this like body that you worked after creating this EP, or did all of this kind of happen around the same time?
Wait.
Like your next body of work, is this something that you also kind of worked on while you were creating this EP?
Some of it was around that time, a little before, a little after, but a lot of it has been in the last 2 months. Okay. About stuff that I'm going through now, or there's some like funnier stuff. It's hard to like talk about it a lot without giving it away, but it's very different.
Now, how do you feel like, because in the last 2 months you went on a big tour with Jack and Jack, so how do you feel like having those kind of performances and shows, like how do they impact the way that you write the music now? Because now you actually feel what these fans are gonna do when you actually perform these songs live.
Man, this tour was so good for me because I gained so many fans in such a short amount of time, and it was amazing for that reason. And I got to really see what songs react really well to people who had never heard them before, and which ones don't react as well. And it definitely affected my writing some. And I want to tour for the rest of my life. I want to always be on tour for like the next 50 years. And I think it's important for a touring artist to write music that can be projected live well, because it's just so important for that reason. And I think a lot of this music is going to be good live music for sure.
Now, do you feel like after experiencing this tour, like the songs from this EP have kind of been restructured in a way, because now you get to perform them to these fans?
I think so. I think there's been a couple spots, especially like the bridge sections, where I would go down. I'm like keeping up and like creating like a chant or something because I wanted to like go off live. Right. But I don't let it affect like the matter that I'm writing about, because no matter what it is, I just want people to relate to it. Right. And I don't think it even matters to to them if they're in the moment and they're feeling good, then it's just the vibe of the song. Right. Yeah.
So talk to us a little bit about this latest single, Wallpaper. Like, tell me about creating this track, and like what was it like making this song?
That song was really fun to make. The track actually started out as a different song. We had a whole other song written to it, and I just didn't love it that much. So we deleted all the vocal takes and we started fresh. And I just, the first melody that came to my head was, "I'm way too high for this," and so we just kept it. and that's like really rare
Yeah.
as a writer and like an artist to keep the first melody that you come up with. It's usually like tweaked, 8, 9, 10 times or whatever, or thrown away and come back to you later. But it was like the first time, like it was the first melody we threw out, and I was like, that's the chorus.
Wow.
And we wanted to put, like, I'm a big fan of like choir vocals.
Yeah, you could tell on this EP.
Thanks, man. And I think it's cool to like put these like proper choir vocals in like these gritty pop songs. I think because it feels like they don't belong in a good way.
Right.
And that chorus sounded really good with the choir on it, and it was just me and my friend singing the same line in each harmony, and we did like 48 vocal takes. So what's 48 times 2?
So you didn't have anybody else like doing those vocals.
No real choir. It was just us. But it's funny because we would use like different voices. Like we'd do like we'd try to sound like like a bigger dude, and then like a smaller dude, and then like we even did female choir vocals because they're back to the falsetto now.
That's crazy.
And we just did every voice we could think of.
That's crazy.
I even did. Do you know who Christopher Walken is?
Yeah.
I even did a Christopher Walken choir voice. It's really funny. If you go back and listen to this, we just bounced the stems because we're getting ready for tour.
Yeah.
Like the tracks, and I went back and I listened to just that one, and I'm laughing. I'm like, I can't even hold it together because it's so funny.
What video was that on? Was it Cake? Was it Cake who he was a video with? It was like back in the day.
Oh, I don't know.
I'm going to have to look that one up again. But damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
What inspired the Christopher Walken?
So when we're in the studio, we have like a movie on, but it's muted just for something playing, and it was Joe Dirt, the movie with David Spade, and he's in that movie as the janitor. And I just saw him, and I just thought it'd be funny to do a Christopher Walken voice. I love doing those things in songs because it, creates cool stories, and I like talking about those kind of things.
That's cool. Now you're getting ready to go on your own tour now, your first headline tour. Like, what can fans expect on this tour, the Freaking Out tour, correct?
Yes, the Freaking Out tour. Man, I'm so excited to go on. I mean, I've never been on my own headline run, so it's like a super special time for me. But people can expect something they've never seen from me before. We're trying to make it less of like 12, whatever the amount of songs is. Spencer sings 10 songs and leaves. Like more like, let's make this an experience. Let's do some more out of the box stuff. Let's have different sections to the show. Yeah. And it's coming together really, really well. I've never worked on a show this hard in my life. So we've been, I've been over at my band's house like pretty much every day, putting the tracks together and doing everything. It's been a lot of work, but it's like I know it's going to be worth it because, I'm so lucky that I get to do this. I'm so lucky that I get to, people come to the shows. Right. And like, there's even a couple cities where I expected there to be like 50 people, and there's like way more. And I'm just so in shock. That's cool. It's amazing, man. I'm so lucky. That's
cool. What did you learn from going on tour with Jack and Jack? Like, as far as like being, as far as like doing your stage show, as far as like doing the tour life, what did you learn from that?
Well, I learned, my main goal was to make new fans and to make my exposure bigger than it was. And I think that like, people told me, hey, make sure you like do a meet and greet, and you don't have to meet everybody. You can just meet like, 30 or 40 people a night, and they'll love that. But I met pretty much everybody. Wow. Every night, and it would take a long time. There's a couple times security would like literally pick me up and move me. They'd be like, sorry, you got to go. But, a lot of people say to meet the fans to make them fans, but I loved meeting them, and I loved talking to them genuinely, not just to make them fans, but it was really cool, like meeting all these people from all over the country and in Canada and whatever, and kind of hearing the shortened version of their like story and their vibe, and like just, talking to them about like where they got those shoes that I'd never seen before or whatever. The fans are my favorite part about it, for sure. That's cool. Yeah.
We'll definitely look forward to that. August 7th, I believe, is the kickoff for the tour.
Yeah.
So, for those fans out there, like, why should they go out and check you out?
It's going to be a show that you will not forget and experience, and it's going to be a fun vibe. Everybody, all the fans are like best friends, so you'll make a bunch of new best friends, and it's gonna be so much fun.
Awesome, dude. Well, thanks for hanging out with me. You guys be sure to check out Spencer Sutherland. New EP's out now. Check out Wallpaper. The video's out as well. And thanks for watching on Front Row Live.